So today I want to talk about being single. A lot of people in society look at it as a bad thing because it seems to mean that, you're alone because you are not attractive or you're not desirable and nobody wants to be with you because of something that is in the way. And so, you feel lonely and sometimes depressed and sometimes you want someone, but I think it's a better idea to either be flirty or just get like a friend that you can basically just be kind of friends with benefits with, instead of devoting your time and your feelings to a relationship. Because first off, people like me that have problems with their emotions, I have a lot of anxiety. I've had panic disorder for a few years, and so when I do get in a relationship, I constantly am worrying if they're cheating on me. And I'm not really like jealous or anything, and I don't freak out, but it is a worry of mine, and I'm constantly wishing I could check and wishing that I could know, but I can't get through it. It just sucks. And so it's a constant stress factor. Not only that, but I'm always worrying about whether they don't love me anymore, or if something that they said sounded like maybe they don't really care as much as they used to, or I'm just constantly being kind of like a Klingon and then backing away because I feel like, well, maybe they weren't okay with that. And there's really no evidence behind some of this stuff. A lot of the time, it's all in your head, but the fact is that the relationship is what brought it on in the first place. And sometimes people aren't ready for that, especially if they do have those insecurities. You have to have some confidence on your own. You have to be able to be like, well, if they leave, I have this plan. I have a backup plan. Like, if they decide that they do not want to be with me anymore, I am going to go and I'm going to become the president of the United States. And, well, obviously that's not, but, let that be a goal for you. I mean, you gotta have something that you can fall back on. And so, in order to be in a relationship, you have to have some kind of happiness besides that person. You can't build your whole life around this person, and that's what I do when I'm in a relationship. And so, before I was in a relationship, I was, I'll admit it, I had a friend with benefits situation, and he was a lot like a boyfriend in the ways that I wanted him to be, as in, like, I could have whatever I wanted out of him, but I didn't have to have all the factors of relationships that I feel are annoying, like, having to worry about what they're doing and making sure that your life works in a way that is, um, it works for both of you. You have to find a balance between both of your lives, and sometimes that means you have to compromise your happiness a little bit. Like, say that your boyfriend is a dirty hippie and you are very clean. They are not going to be okay with you constantly spraying yourself with perfume and constantly taking showers and wasting the water bill, and they want free love, and you have to find a balance. You have to be like, alright, only wash my hair once every 2 days because you're so annoyed over it, even though pretty much it's none of your business, bro. And that's another reason that relationships are kind of annoying, is because, like, you're another person. Sometimes I feel like the stuff that I do is none of your business, but I still have to worry about your opinion, and also if you have a problem with your boyfriend being lazy and not having a job, and he has to get a job because he's with you, and maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe he should just be a lazy slob. But I mean, you do these things because you care about them, but at the same time, they blame you for it, pretty much. They're just like, that bitch made me get a job, and I don't know. I mean, I've dated so many men that are like that, because this day and age, not a lot of guys want to work, and, a lot of people are slackers, and so they're more interested in having swag on their resume than anything else, really. And so it's really hard to find a good guy, and when you do, or even a good girl lately, because of just the way that the world is, when you do, you worry, because you're like, well, wait a minute, this seems like it's way too good to be true, so it probably is. And I've had, the engagement that I'm in right now, it feels like that. It feels like, wow, you're perfect, but some of the things about this annoys me, and there's things about every relationship that's going to be annoying. I mean, maybe you find the perfect guy who doesn't care about sex and doesn't want to use you and doesn't want to take your money and doesn't have any of that, and he'll be a great father and blah blah blah, but then you find out that, well, when he says he doesn't care about sex, he really doesn't care about sex, and you know, he doesn't ever want to have sex, as in, like, there's something weird about him. And you have to compromise that. Whereas if you were single, you could find somebody that's like that and a friend or something, and then find another person that you want to bang. So it's like, oh, you have the best of both worlds. I can hang out with this really cool guy, but I can also get my kicks, you know? And then, you know, there's always, oh, love makes you want to sacrifice all these things for other people, and I agree with that, but at the same time, it sucks. It really does suck. Or there's other situations like, you know, a guy finds a girl who he thinks is perfect, but she is, I don't know, she belongs to some kind of weird church organization that tells her that she can't eat meat, and his favorite food is meat, and so then when they live together, he's buying meat, and she's like, how can you do that, you weirdo? And he's like, man, it's just meat. And then she's like, I can't believe you would say that about this, you know that it is so important to me, and blah blah blah. And so then there's constantly this conflict. You have to find, if you're going to live with someone, you have to find a balance between what they want and what you want. And sometimes one of you gets the upper hand, and I mean, this isn't okay, and it's kind of stupid, and you should be able to talk about it and discuss it, but that just creates more bullshit. So there's constantly, you know, he wants this and I want this, and we gotta find some way to make it both work. But then when we do, it's like, well, this way works for you, but it doesn't work for me, and now we're gonna fight about it. And now I'm going to be stressed out, and you're going to leave the house, and I'm going to be concerned about that, because why are you leaving the house? Why can't you ever talk to me about anything? And so it just becomes this big mess, and you realize that you don't actually want this. I don't know if that makes sense. And you're just like, oh, but I love him, though, and he's so perfect. But is he really that perfect? If you have to compromise pretty much everything in your life just so you can be with this person, or just, you know, it's a hard thing to swallow, because if this guy was really that perfect, or this girl, then they'd probably be ideal. But where if you're single, you can just kind of find people with the traits that you like and be friends with them, and everything works. You can work on your own life and your own happiness, and, you know, make your own status higher and stuff. If you're working at some kind of local corporation, you can make sure that you get promotions and stuff, and focus all your time and energy on stuff like that, instead of constantly worrying about your relationship and trying to make, and I mean, I know that relationships make people happy, but sometimes people rely on that happiness, and I feel like if they don't have a relationship, then they don't really have anything. So they're just like, well, my world is this one person, and if I'm not with this person, then basically I don't care about anything. I don't want any of this without this person. And so it's just shitty, you know. And when you realize that, that you do depend on your relationship, sometimes it's like it's too late, because you're like, well, if he leaves me or she leaves me, I'm screwed, because I made this person my whole life now, and so I don't have a life without them. And it blows, because, you know, you're just kind of left to not care about anything if they leave, and generally they do. You have to have something that is behind you, and, you know, that you can fall back on. And I always have this thought of, like, well, if they leave, I can go back to this whole being single and trying to be happy on my own thing, and only worrying about myself, because, you know, in this world sometimes it's like every man for himself. And I mean, I know it's a shitty way to look at it, and it looks like a player and you're using for people and everything, but sometimes that just works for people better than worrying about, and you know, even when you get in a relationship, like I am getting married right now, so if I do marry this person, I'm going to be locked into this way of life for what I feel like is forever, because I would not get a divorce. And there's so many people that I know that wouldn't get a divorce, so they would put up with so much bullshit in their marriage just so they could keep it. And Where if you're on your own, I mean, sometimes it's better because um, you're not putting up with any bullshit, and you can just live your life the way you want to live it, and if anyone doesn't like it, then they can pretty much get fucked. And yeah, that's kind of a better alternative, I think. Sometimes it depends on the scenario, but obviously people in love don't want to get out of their relationship. But if you are single, or if someone's breaking up with you, or whatever, you can just be happy about the fact that you don't have to deal with their bullshit anymore. And you can just be you and be happy, and you don't have to have anyone be okay with it, because you are the only person that needs to be okay with it. And I feel like that is so much better than trying to constantly make sure everything is okay with this other person. So with that said, I hope people who are being broken up with right now, or feel like their relationship's going through some rocky times, have something to look forward to with or without them. And I know that you really love this person, but you will be okay, and you're going to be happy at some point. You know it's going to suck for a few weeks. You're going to cry into your ice cream, and I feel for you, but after that, you're going to pull yourself off the floor, and you are going to find happiness elsewhere, in yourself, and you will be fine. And you can read the Bible, or you can watch tons of Disney movies, or you can make blogs like I'm doing, or you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about him or her finding out what the hell you're doing and bugging out. You just be you, and just be cool with that. And I know that you're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if they want me to do this and that and the other thing. I'm okay with that because I love them. Well, if they love you, then they should accept everything that you are wholeheartedly. And so people who already are single, I hope that makes you feel a little bit better about your situation. And people who feel like they're on the verge of becoming single, I hope that you realize that you have something to look forward to. If you were trying to make sure that you can build a future together with this one person, you will be able to do that on your own. And you can, if you get your own apartment by yourself and pay your own stuff in your own way, you can have anybody you want over at any time, and if they break the rules, you can kick their ass out. If another guy lives with you, or a girl lives with you, and you get your everything all set up, and then they come in and fuck shit up, and you're just like, get out. They're not going to get out because they pay half of the rent, and then so you just kind of have to deal with their stupid, dirty ass. So it's much better when you have your own place, and you can have them over any time, but when you don't want them there, you can be like, dude, get the fuck out of my house. Or, whatever. You can have the food that you want in your house. You can clean things the way you want to clean it. You don't have to pick up everything constantly all the time. You can leave your towels on the floor. You can pick them up and hang them up neatly, and it doesn't annoy any dirty hippies. Be happy. And, just find a balance in your life by yourself, because you're not going to know what you would want in your life, basically, if you go out and just, live in this situation that's basically like marriage. You're not going to know how you would live on your own. You're just going to know what you're like with this other person. And I've lived with guys before, so I know that on my own, I'm a lot different than I am when I'm with someone else. Because when I'm with someone else, I constantly have to worry about them being there. It's like, I can't even cry for no reason because you are behind me and you are constantly watching me. And so I just feel like I can't even be myself half of the time. And sometimes when you need to go do personal things, like say that you have a tummy ache and you need to throw up, your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever is constantly up your ass. And so you're just like, dude, I'm sick, and they're like, oh, let me help you, and you're just like, no, I'm embarrassed because I'm sick, and I want you to get away from me. And sometimes nobody listens to that, and so that sucks. And just be happy about being alone, and it's not even really being alone, it's just being yourself and having all these things and outlets around you that will make you happy without having to commit to any of them and make sure that another person is happy. So with that said, I hope all of you feel better.